Hello everyone, I hope you're doing good and staying safe. Welcome to SimpliCode's YouTube channel, and in today's session we are going to learn how to create a function in SQL. Now just like other programming languages such as C, C++ and Python, SQL also allows the user to create a user-defined function other than the SQL inbuilt functions as well. So in today's session we'll create a simple user-defined function using the SQL statements. More on that soon. But before we get started, if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed already, consider getting subscribed to our channel SimpliCode to stay updated with all the latest technologies, and hit that bell icon to never miss an update from us. So without any further delay, let's get started with today's topic. Now to create and for the execution part of the functions, let us jump into MySQL Workbench. So as you can see, MySQL Workbench has started, and before understanding the syntax of how to create a function, let us just understand what a function actually is. Now a function in SQL is basically a set of SQL statements that performs a specific task. Now if you have to repeatedly write larger SQL queries to perform a task, you can simply create a function for that. Now next time, instead of rewriting the whole SQL query, you can just simply call that function to get the desired result. Now these SQL functions are basically programs either developed by the user or already provided by the SQL system. Now we have several inbuilt functions or the system defined functions like aggregate functions, string functions, date functions, etc. Now other than that, we can create a user defined function as well. So firstly, let us go through the syntax on how to create a function. So the syntax is followed as delimiter, which I will explain in a while when we are creating the actual functions. So let us keep it aside for a while. Create function, function name, and inside the parenthesis mention the parameters. Now you can create a number of parameters as per your choice. The thing is, you have to mention the parameter name as well as its data type. Returns data type, deterministic, begin, and inside that we have to write the code, that is the actual code for the function, and use the end. So let me just explain how this syntax works. Firstly, we are specifying the name of the stored function that we want to create after the create function keyword. Next, we have to list all the parameters of the stored function inside the parenthesis followed by the function name. And then we are specifying the data type of the return value in the return statement, which can be valid using any data type here as well, like int, char, varchar, etc. And then we are specifying if a function is deterministic or not. Now a deterministic function always returns the same value for the same input parameters, whereas a non-deterministic function returns different results for the same input parameters. So let me just explain this with an example. Now if I take a function xyz and I am specifying a parameter, let's say p function, so it will always result the same answer as long as its input, that is p, is the same. And finally, we'll write the code in the body section after the begin keyword. So this code will be written in the body of the stored function in the begin end block. Now inside the body section, you need to specify at least one return statement. This return statement basically returns a value to the calling program. Now whenever the return statement is reached, this execution of this function is terminated automatically. So let us now understand this with an example. We have a query here which says like create a function bonus status, which has one parameter salary of type char and returns varchar of size 20. Now we have to use the following operations in the statement to create this function. The first one is return eligible for bonus as the statement if salary is greater than 35,000, else return not eligible. So let us now write the syntax for this. So let me just switch to another tab and we'll write the query here. First write the keyword, that is create function. Now the function is bonus status. Inside the parenthesis, mention the parameter. Now I'm taking parameter as salary here, which is of character. I am giving size as 20. Close the parenthesis. Now mention the return statement, that is it returns varchar of size 20. Deterministic is the keyword that we are using here. Begin, and inside this we have to write our main query. Now the query that we have earlier discussed is that if salary is greater than 35,000, then return eligible for bonus. Eligible for bonus and close the parenthesis. Else return return inside the parenthesis not eligible. Mention the double quotes and close the parenthesis and put a semicolon. Now that's it. That is the end of our body. So now I'll use the end if statement, which will basically close the body of our function, and then I'll use the end operator here with the $sign, and that is it. This is basically our code to create a function. So let us now execute this statement and see the output. Now while I execute the statement, it will throw an error, and this is where we'll use the SQL delimiter. Now, as you know, when we write an SQL statement, you use the semicolon after the SQL statement. Like if you write a two separate statement, for example, if I say select star from, I'm taking an example as employee, and I'm taking another example as select star from orders. Now when I execute this query, it will throw an output because I haven't selected which query I want to execute. Now for that, we'll place an individual semicolon at the end of our statement, right? So in a similar way, MySQL uses the delimiter function to separate statement and executes each statement separately. Now, however, a function consists of multiple statements separated by a semicolon. So if you used to define a function that contains semicolon characters, then it will not treat the whole function as a single statement but many statements. Therefore, you must redefine the delimiter temporarily so that you can pass the whole function as a single statement. So for that, we'll use the delimiter here. So let me just incorporate the delimiter here. You have to use delimiter with the help of double slash or double $sign here. You have to specify at the beginning as well as the end. Delimiter, and I'll mention two double. So that's it. Now our code is complete, and let us execute the statement now. So our query has been successfully executed. Now to see whether our function is created or not, let us just refresh the schema here. And as you can see in function section, you can see bonus status, which is the function we have created earlier, has been created successfully. So let us now just verify whether our function is working or not. So I'll just write a simple query as select bonus status. Let us take 40,000 as our example. So let me just execute this statement and we'll see the output. So as you can see, the condition which I've specified is if the salary is greater than 35,000, then the employee is eligible for bonus. Now since we have taken the salary as 40,000, it is showing as eligible for bonus. Now similarly, let's say if I take 20,000 and if I execute this statement, it will definitely show me not eligible. So as you can see, it will show not eligible for bonus. So in this way, you can create an user-defined function by passing certain parameters to get the desired result of your choice. So now that you've created a function, you can query an already existing table by calling that function in an SQL statement by passing certain parameters into that function. Let us understand this with an example. Consider the employee table here. So let me just display the records in that employee table. So as you can see, the employee table has various columns such as employee ID, employee name, age, designation, city, total salary, date of joining, and department ID. Now using these already created functions, let's say if I want to know whether the employee is eligible for the bonus or not using their total salary, I'll use the function, and to achieve that I'll simply use the select statement to display the records. So let me just write the query here. Select, I want to fetch the employee ID, employee name, their total salary. So I'm mentioning the columns employee ID, employee name, their total salary, now I'll call the function here, that is our bonus status, and inside the function I'm going to pass the parameter which is the total salary, on which we'll know whether the employee is eligible for bonus or not. So I'm taking as total salary from the table that is employee. So let us execute this statement and see the output. So there was a mistake in the function name. So let us execute the statement now and we'll see the output. So as you can see, based on the total salary and the function that we have created earlier, it will result whether or not the employee is eligible for bonus or not. Now you can see the employee Rahul, who's having salary 40,000, which is above 35,000. So in this case, it is showing as eligible for bonus. Now if you consider another employee Varun, whose salary is 30,000, which is less than 35,000, so that is why it is showing as not eligible. In this way, and for the rest of the employees also, it will show the same as per the condition that we have specified in our function, that is the salary should be greater than 35,000. So in this way, you can simply call a function using its name and provide the parameter and get the required output. Now the other important thing to notice here is that we have used a function as a column as a parameter in our select query. Now we have passed the parameter that is total salary into our function, that is bonus status, and the function returned a result of this calculation. Now in this way, SQL function can be very useful as we have avoided writing complex calculations in a select query, and also we can reuse this function later in any other queries as well. And that brings us to the end of today's session, guys. I hope you understood how to create a user-defined function. Thank you for watching the video, guys. I hope you found this tutorial informative and useful. If you have any further queries regarding any of the topics covered in today's session, feel free to let us know in the comment section below, and a team of experts will be more than happy to help resolve all your queries at the earliest. Until next time, stay safe and keep coding.